Now making their way to the microphone, it's Daniel Cormier and Ariel Helwani.
Back in your life on this third week of September 2020. Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to a brand new edition of DC and Helwani. That's DC, Daniel Cormier, or maybe it's that way.
It's the other way. Yes, it's the other way.
Yep. There we go. And I'm Helwani Ariel Helwani. And look at this guy. Look at that glow. Look at that smile. DC, look at that shine. Woo.
I just shaved it up. I put a little Vaseline on it. I had to be really shining this morning. I put a little Vaseline on this side and a little baby oil on this side. I'm trying to look good for this new show. Yeah, I'm trying to look good for the new show.
You're like a mid-'80s professional wrestler.
I mean, boy, look at that. I mean, wait, are you acting like professional wrestlers don't oil themselves up right now? I mean, we went to a wrestling show one time and Daniel goes, why is everybody's hair so wet? Because everybody's hair is just like dripping wet. Why is it all so wet?
So what do? You take like a big, like a scoop of Vaseline and you rub it on your
Vaseline,
hair?
Rub it in, kind of shine it up. Because look, listen, this is a big step for me, because I really loved my haircut. That's why I held on to it for so long, even when the signs were pointing to cut it off. So this is a big step. And then now that I'm looking at it, I mean, it ain't really bad. So
no, it's great.
I like it.
No more shampoo. That's a big deal.
So that becomes a bit of an issue, right? Because when you shower, usually the shampoo allows the soap to drip down, which is a good thing, because then you're like washing multiple times. Part of the shampoo. So no, I don't get to use that, but that's okay.
That seems like a very lazy approach to
shower
your butt. Well, yeah.
How long, and how long should a shower be? A couple minutes? 1 minute?
Couple minutes?
Yeah, 10. 1 minute, 2 minutes.
Minimum 10.
No, you're taking 10-minute showers?
Minimum.
You look like the type of guy that would take a 10-minute shower. There's no reason to take a 10-minute shower. How many times are you washing yourself in 10 minutes? 20?
You're thinking, you're pondering, you're singing a little bit.
You're listening to music.
You're stretching. There's all kinds of things that goes on in there.
Stretching like Luke Rockhold. Stretching like Luke Rockhold's video. Did you see Luke Rockhold's video?
I did not.
Oh, my goodness. Go to Luke Rockhold's Instagram, bro. Him and his girlfriend are playing around. She throws a sweep kick like Ryu from Street Fighter. Luke does a high kick right into a full-on split and starts to twerk.
Wait a second.
It's the most odd video I've never seen him do anything like that.
Luke Rockhold's off the market. You buried the lead there. That's a big deal.
I mean, I would imagine that's his girlfriend. The girl's in the video. She's on his Instagram. He's kind of claiming her.
Okay. All right. DC, we have some big news and we didn't get to it. I don't know why we're talking about showers and Luke Rockhold's dating life.
That's what happens. Is there anything more interesting than Luke Rockhold's dating life? Like, yes. I mean, seriously.
Yes.
Really?
What you're about to share with the world right here. You have some breaking news, world exclusive. It is not what?
What are you talking about? Oh, I know what you're talking about. Okay. I almost buried the lead again.
Well, I almost got really afraid that I set you up for something that you didn't want to talk about.
No, man. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about the birth of Luna Rose Cormier. She was born last Wednesday.
Wow.
4.5 weeks early and still 6 pounds, 11 ounces. We're looking on the power of a 12-pound baby if she went full term. But man, she's here. She's home. She's beautiful. She is a splitting image of my daughter, Marquita. It's amazing to welcome my new daughter into the family. And I'm so happy and proud. And I can't get enough of her.
Okay. Well, first of all, Mazel Tov. I mean, let's be honest. I said this privately, but I feel like publicly on the show, I should say, Mazel Tov. I'm so happy. This is great news. I hope that Selena is feeling great. I hope that Luna is feeling great. It's a beautiful name. And by the way, can you tell the people the reason why her name is Luna?
Yeah. So when we had Daniel, we would always sing that song, "You Are My Sunshine. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy." That one, right? And so we started calling him our sunshine. And then Marquita is just a star in every sense of the word, right? She dances, she twirls, she sings. She's just beautiful. So she's our star. And then Luna's our moon, so our kids are out of this world, right? So we're so proud of them and we're just so happy as parents to have these beautiful children. And now we have our we're complete now.
And when did this happen?
She was born last Wednesday, but we went
So what happens?
Wednesday.
Because 4.5 weeks is pretty early. So
Yeah,
was
very
there some
early.
drama
So
involved?
we went in for a doctor's appointment, and there were some things that Selena was having to deal with, and they were like, "You guys have to go to the delivery room now." And as concerning as it was, and nerve-wracking as it was, we were excited to welcome our baby because you start to get excited, and you can't wait. And she's here now; she's healthy, and yeah, we're excited.
Now, what about the fact that you are? I always equate it to rewinding the tape, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
your children. How old is Marquita? The
She's
middle.
8. Daniel's 9.
So it has been like 5.5 or 6 years since you've had to change diapers
Yeah.
and deal with all that. Now you're going all the way back to the beginning. How does that feel?
I mean, it's cool, man. It's cool to have a baby around because she smiles and she just kind of likes me. Like she likes me. Like if she's crying for something and it's hard to stop her from crying, if I pick her up, she kind of like stops crying. And it's
Wow.
like a sense of pride because Marquita's almost at an age now, even though she's 8, where sometimes I don't know if she likes me. So I'm like, dang, Kiki, do you even like me anymore? But now I got my Luna Rose, and she's gonna like me for a long time.
Wow, that is amazing. And like, be honest, I know you kind of said the diaper thing, but like, you don't really, you're not like a diaper changing kind of guy, right?
I changed since Luna's been home. I've changed every single diaper.
Every single one?
Every single one.
I don't believe that for a second.
I have changed
middle of the night.
And I haven't been to bed since 4 a.m. I get up every night.
Really?
When she gets up. Yep. I get up. I change the diaper. Selena feeds her. So
that's the deal.
Teamwork makes the dream work, baby.
Wow. And even though she came so early, you guys are back home.
We're back home 2 days. We're back home on Friday. So
amazing.
On Wednesday, back on Friday because she's a fighter like her dad. And she had some trouble initially, but she busted right through it, man. She got right through it, and now she's home with us, and we're so happy.
Isn't it amazing? I feel like you announced this news via text message on the show many moons ago when you were in Jacksonville. Remember that when you texted me in the middle of the show rather than just saying
I'm
it?
about to have a baby. You remember that? Hey, yo, I'm about to have a baby. You're like, wait, am I supposed to share this? I was like, oh, it kind of came to me, so I told you.
But back then, which I can't decide if that felt like 9 months ago or 2 weeks ago. Anyway, back then, I don't think you knew the sex. So I offered my services if you guys.
That was absurd. That was absolutely, I don't need him. Now, I thank God I don't need you to do what you were asking me to do back in the day.
But in the Jewish religion, we do baby namings. Do you guys do baby namings?
What?
A baby naming. Do you guys do that?
No, I don't even know what that means. You give your baby a name. Baby naming means
you do. A name. You have a whole celebration. You go to a temple, and many people come. So I'd be willing to.
No, man. Stop offering things.
There's no actual like things involved. It's just a party. It's just a party. If you guys want to do it to be more, spiritual, I'd be willing. If you want to talk about it off camera or something.
You're gonna pay for it?
No.
You're gonna pay for a party? So you're gonna pay for the party?
You hire someone.
So you'll hire the person for the party?
No, you hire me and my crew to do it.
Oh, so you want to work the party?
I have a crew. That's right.
I thought you were offering to pay for the party. You want to work the actual party?
I don't work. There's so many negative connotations to the word work. I say.
What do you mean?
With love.
You want to come and psorry love at the party?
That's okay. Right.
I mean, geez, Louis, you constantly offer me things I just don't really need. It's like I don't need. I appreciate it. I appreciate the sentiment. We're gonna pass. We've named our baby Luna. We're very happy with it.
All right.
And I'm good. So you can go ahead and keep your bris. Yeah. I'm not gonna have you do my kid's bris. If I ever
you might have another one.
If I ever had a boy. Yeah. I would never have you do my kid's bris.
Okay.
And I'm not hiring you as a party planner for my baby girl's naming party. So let's get back to the show. Let's get back to the show.
All right. Absurd. Well, what a month for you. 41, last MMA fight, a dad once again. I mean, you're living your best life.
I'm living my best life, man. And who would have
thought? On ESPN?
Yeah, who would have thought, right? Like losing that fight and just being so mad and depressed that fast forward a month and things are as good as I ever could have imagined.
Dare I say, losing the fight was the best thing to ever happen to you?
No, let's not go crazy. Let's not go crazy. I mean, son, you always just take it so far. Why do you do that?
I was just trying to make you feel better.
No, losing the fight was the worst thing, but everything that's happened since has been fantastic.
Okay. All right. Well, Mazel Tov again from my family to yours, from everyone to you guys. I hope everyone's doing well. Shall we talk about fights, or do you just want to
Yeah,
talk
please.
about?
Let's talk about fights.
All right. Well, I know you were really busy last week, but there was a UFC event on Saturday. Actually, it was a really busy weekend in MMA because we had 2 Bellator events and a UFC event. Let's start with Michelle Waterson and Angela Hill. Super close fight. For the record, I thought Angela Hill won the fight 48-47. And I want to ask you about this. I sort of feel like Angela Hill has reached a point in her career. Like, look, she's a fun fighter. She's a fan favorite. She's a super active fighter. She's sort of like the male version of Donald Cerrone in the sense that, the female version of Donald Cerrone in the sense that she's just always down to fight. Second year in a row, she fights 4 times in a calendar year. It's a big deal. And she might get one more in this year. But she reminds me actually a lot of Jorge Masvidal a couple of years ago, where it always feels like she loses these super close decisions, often split decisions like Saturday. And it feels like when you watch her, she has an extra gear, but she can't quite find that extra gear, or isn't willing to go to that extra gear. Am I crazy here, or do you see the same thing out of her?
I just think that the way that she attacks the fight, right? She's very, she trains with Dominic, right? So a lot of the approach is very almost analytical, right? Like this step equate to something going in another direction. She's calculating a lot of things, right? So is this risk going to pay off, right? In basketball, shoot more threes. Forget the mid-range jump shot because you're going to get the extra point. That's why the Rockets shoot 50 threes a game.
Yeah, it worked out.
Is the risk of attacking more in this round going to pay dividends later? It might, or does it put me in danger? And I think because she has such a strong mind for fighting, she can't truly just let it all go. But she's been in there with the best of the best, and it's just unfortunate because I remember back in 2016 or so, she fought against Jessica Andrade, and she showed so much heart. Jessica Andrade was on her way to the title, beat her up, and she showed so much heart. And then she seemed to have turned a corner. Right now, the fights are much more competitive with the highest level girls in the world, women in the world. Michelle Waterson, Claudia Gadelha, back-to-back split decision losses. So you can look at it in a sense that the risk versus reward that she's been taking allows her to be in the fight. Whereas before, when she was willing to kind of stand on her shield, she was losing pretty convincingly. And I don't know if that's a credit to Jessica or the fact that Angela fought a different type of fight. So I think she's putting herself she's giving herself a chance, but it does feel like with her athleticism and her gifts, she could do a little bit more. But again, it's going to come down to her being more free-flowing opposed to trying to work everything out up here.
Do you see that? Like when you watch her, do you feel like she's overthinking?
Not overthinking. I just think that she's weighing risk versus reward, right? Because she does a really good job. Her Muay Thai has gotten really, really good. She's got great striking, and she's not taking as much damage. When you look at Michelle Waterson on Saturday night compared to the way that she looked, she didn't look as beat up nearly as Michelle, right? So she probably thought in the fight, oh, I'm doing good. I'm winning. I'm landing. I'm doing more damage. So she's giving herself a chance. So every time she's walking to the judges' scorecards now, she feels as though she has a chance to win, even though it's close, right? She's not certain that she's lost the fight. So I don't know if a change is needed or maybe just a little bit more is needed. And I don't know exactly what that is.
Yeah, she is 35, but she's a young 35, right? I still feel like she has several years left. Again, it was a great fight, by the way. A lot of people were crapping on the fight when it became the new main event after Glover Teixeira tested positive. And by the way, they don't get enough credit because we saw a lot of fighters and fights recently get bumped up from co-main to main.
3 rounds. They went 5.
Yeah, so they
get to these 2 women. They went 5 and never questioned it, right? On a week and a half, 2 weeks notice, they never said give us 3 rounds. They fought a 5-round main event. And they laid it all on the line. So they both should be very proud. And look, man, we're talking about Angie, but Michelle Waterson, she deserves credit herself for going in there and getting the victory in the way that she did. I thought it was a great fight. I thought that the women were able to bury the hatchet, per se, after the fight. And I love that Angie was right on to the next one right after the fight because she was cursing at somebody on the internet. I can't remember who it was, but I saw it somewhere that she's got.
Claudia.
Was it Claudia? She wants to rematch Claudia again.
Yeah.
It's like the second time I've forgotten Claudia's name. Like,
what's your beef with her?
Nothing. She's a great girl. She used to train with us. So it's right back. Like I think both of these women are in store for big things.
See, I actually feel like maybe a little time off would help her. Sharpen the skills. if you keep jumping back in there, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You're not regrouping, right? No, don't you
But
think?
like you're doing the same thing, but once again, when you're walking to the center to get your hand raised, there's a part of you that believes you won every time. And
Yeah.
reality is, most people thought she won the Claudia fight. And
I
most
did.
people, right? And so most people thought she won the fight last weekend. So what exactly is she doing wrong when she fought the number 2 contender in the world or 3 contender in the world in Claudia and the number like 7 contender in the world, Michelle Waterson, and essentially lost. She lost split decisions, but could potentially have won both fights. She won the fights on one judge's scorecard both time. So like, what is she doing wrong exactly?
Yeah,
You
it's
understand what I'm
tough
saying?
pill to swallow. Yeah, it's tough. She could be on a 5-fight winning streak right now.
Exactly. It's like
Um,
Overeem. It's like the same situation with Overeem, right? It's not for the 5-10 seconds of the Jairzinho fight. Now you're looking at Alistair Overeem on a 5-fight winning streak over Jairzinho, over Sakai, like all these guys. And you're like, wow, Alistair's on his way to a title shot again. It's the same thing.
You are right, though. Watterson deserves credit. And I feel like there's been this stigma attached to her where she's like just point fighting or sparring. I find Watterson to be a very fun fighter to watch. This time last year, she was hoping to get a title shot, then lost 2 in a row. I don't think she's in that title picture just yet. Obviously, they're going to go with Rose and Zhang Weili in the not too distant future. But, maybe 1 or 2, she finally gets that title shot that she's been dreaming about for so many years. So the main event was fun. But DC, I got to tell you, one of my favorite stories of this summer, honestly, one of my favorite stories of the past few months, in the midst of this crazy,
the king,
man, the evolution of Bobby Green, not only as a fighter, but as a human being as well. There was a time I went back and looked at, I think I interviewed him back in 2011, and he always kind of gave off the impression that he was just mad at the world,
angry.
right? Like angry at everyone. And didn't live up to his own expectations. And as a result of that, he was mad, and he was mad at the media. And like, who is this guy, Bobby Green, now? What a pleasure, right? What a great story this is.
I fought with Bobby Green at King of the Cage back in 2010. And he was the man there, right? He was the man there before he made his UFC debut. And when he got there, you could see that the skills were there, right? Like you could see that he had the potential, but it wasn't coming together. But I think that part of what you're seeing with Bobby is the same, right? Before, he was very angry, but he seemed emotional, right? Now he's just showing all of those emotions, right? And really allowing himself to verbalize what he's feeling in all assets, right? When he was talking about his father before, when everybody was split on racial issues, Bobby Green brought his guy that he calls his dad up there, his coach, and the guy that's really helped him out over the course of his life, and they hugged it out in front of everybody last weekend. The news broke. Bobby's in the locker room, right? He hears that this news broke. That's horrifying news. And Bobby addresses it right there. Like, wow, this really does affect me. And I think when you show that human side of yourself to people, they're drawn to you. And I think that's what's happening with Bobby Green right now. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, and you're referencing the execution of Naveed Afghari, the Iranian wrestler. What a raw moment that was. But he's winning fights. Like all of a sudden, Bobby Green in contention, by the way, for Fighter of the Year. Why not?
Well, but here's the thing, right? And for all those things I speak about Bobby and the evolution as a person, all of that doesn't matter if he's not winning fights, right? That doesn't matter if he's not winning fights and in the interview zone after winning those fights and having that moment to really let his personality and show who he truly is shine through. So yeah, he's fighting tremendous. I mean, again, this should not be surprising, all that surprising to people, because the guy's always had a ton of skill and he's always had a great style for fighting. He's a good wrestler. He has unbelievable striking. He shoulder the way he shoulder rolls punches, like when the guys are throwing at him and he's shoulder rolling and returning, it's nasty. You could tell that he has a high level background in boxing and full on mixed martial arts.
Is he doing anything from a technical standpoint different, or is it just, hey, sometimes it takes guys a little longer to put it all together?
You know what? I think that Bobby's doing little things, but it's nothing big and glaring, right? When you look at a Bobby Green fight, they still kind of look the same a little bit. They don't look like they've changed all that much, but he's doing a much better job of not getting hit. He's doing a much better job of just staying composed and being confident, right? Before, remember him and Josh Thompson fought, and the whole time they're like kind of egging each other on to fight more, and it ended up looking like a glorified sparring match, right? Nothing happened at all. But now he's not playing as much. Remember, he was talking trash to Dustin Poirier, got knocked out. he's kind of staying within himself a little bit more, which is allowing him to just kind of stay the path and not make the mistakes that he was making before. He's been a great martial artist. He's been forever. He's been fantastic. And guess what else? Confidence. There's nothing that helps you more or buoys you more than confidence. And he's confident right now. And every time he wins, every time he beats somebody else, every time he steps in the middle of the octagon and gets his hand raised, he's going to be more and more confident and much more difficult to beat.
It's like you, when you put on the collared polo shirt, you just exude confidence rather than when you're putting it's a whole new you. Look at you. Last few weeks in a row, you got the collared shirt.
They told me to get dressed. Dog, they said, DC, get dressed. Boy, if you could see what I'm wearing. I got my spandex on under here. I'm going to go for a run afterwards. I'm wearing my spandex to go run with my running shoes and just do a polo up top.
You're adamant about not, letting yourself.
I'm trying not to get too big, man. It was bad before. When you watched the show from March, remember March? Yeah. My head was double the size. It was crazy. And you didn't tell me.
No,
you did. You actually just let me come outside like that. You're supposed to be my friend. I mean, be like, hey, DC, looking a little bad right now.
Where are we at in terms of weight right now? Could I ask?
243.
Whoa. Wait, what did you fight at? What did you weigh in at?
235.
Okay.
So I gained like 7 pounds.
But by the time Saturday came, what did you weigh?
When I got in the octagon, I think I was like 238, 239.
Okay, so you're not that far off.
No, I was like 239 going in there.
Now it gets interesting with the baby, some early morning, late night eating.
Well, here's the problem. Like you're in the middle of the night, there's some cookies and
make a little sandwich,
And I've gotten old, so now every night before bed I gotta have milk. And what pairs best with milk? Chocolate chip cookies.
Do you really do that?
I drink milk every night. I can't go to bed without milk.
Come on.
I'm really embracing this old. I mean, yesterday I sent you a photo that I edited, and you were like, "That's terrible."
It was a horrible. Yeah, this guy worked 45 minutes on a picture of what was it? Drew Brees and Tom Brady.
It was Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and it was 1-0 Bill Belichick, 0-1 Tom Brady. Just win, coach. Like I thought, I was very proud of it. 45 minutes I spent on.
But it was with one of those like horrible free photo grid apps with their logo smack dab in the middle. The editing was bad. It wasn't sized properly. I was like, "What is this?" It was bad. It was horrible. Wait a second. You have milk every night before going to bed? I thought only like 85-year-old people did that. Is it warm or cold?
It just depends on the night, right? Some nights if there's cookies involved, then it's cold. But if it's not, warm it a little bit. It can't be hot. It's gonna be a little bit warm. It's good for the bones, man. It's good calcium.
What do you do? What do you do to warm it up? Microwave or stove?
No. I do it on the stove. Put a little thing and just kind of. You got to stir it the whole time. You can't just let it boil. You got to stir the milk in the bowl.
Why do I have this vision of you wearing a full nightgown with one of the hats?
I don't wear a nightgown. I wear a robe. I wear a robe every night.
What do you mean a robe?
I wear a robe. I get dressed. I go to bed. I put my pajama pants on, and I put my robe on when I go to the kitchen. When I go to the kitchen,
do you wear the hat too?
I don't have a milk. But when I go to the kitchen to get my milk, I put my robe on. Yeah, why not? It gets cold at night. It gets cold at night.
This is incredible. What an image. So no hat, no droopy hat.
No hat.
Okay.
No, but it's but everything else is in
every night. 2% or whole?
2% milk. Yeah.
All right.
You don't drink milk before bed? You should try it.
I haven't had milk in years. I have oat milk. I'm an oat milk guy.
Oh, so you're one of those guys. Hey, fancy guy. Oat milk.
Yeah. Don't even come to me with the soy.
Wait.
Almond, I'm off. Oat milk, I'm on the bandwagon.
That's like the highest. That's like the highest grade of milk.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll go to coffee shop. Be like, you have oat milk? No, sorry.
Look at this. You're ridiculous.
Yeah, oat milk.
Geez, you are such an elitist. You're such an elitist.
Anyway, congratulations to Bobby Green. One of those guys who has really taken advantage of the times, fighting very often. Brian Kelleher comes to mind as well. It just seems like every 2 weeks, Bobby Green is fighting, and he's taking advantage of it. Now, before we move along and talk about some other news and notes of the week, DC, speaking of drinking things, let me tell you about our good friends over at
Modelo Espacial.
No. Listen, my good friend Action Bronson. By the way, have you seen Action Bronson lately?
No. What did he do?
Action Bronson has lost 110 pounds.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Doing what?
Working out every day. Action Bronson, Bam Bam Baklava on Instagram. every morning is up at like 3:34, goes to the gym and is doing insane things like doing body presses, wearing like the JYD link chain, or like he is doing high level stuff with CC Sabathia at a gym in
Are you
Jersey.
kidding me?
Action Bronson doesn't look the same. Has lost 110 pounds, this
That
guy.
is
So
not
shout
real.
out to him.
Okay, read the Modelo ad. I'm going to try
Go
to
look it
see
up.
Action Bronson. What is it called? Bam Bam Bavakli?
Uh,
How do you say that?
Baklava.
Bam Bam Bavakli? How do you
Baklava.
put that? How do you say
Baklava. Baklava. It'll pop up.
I'm
Big fan of the show.
Action
Shout out to
Bronson.
Action. Anyway, let me tell you about our good friends over at Modelo. Modelo Especial. Brewed for those with a fighting spirit. We love Modelo. Why? Because it's the official beer of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And Modelo is brewed for those with a fighting spirit. You see what I'm talking about?
He's doing push-ups on top of the thing. I can't even do that. You know how difficult that is to do that?
Yes.
It's hard to do that. Like,
he did 110 on September 11th in honor of those who perished that day. Anyway, back to the
goodness, he's lost a lot of weight.
Modelo partners with UFC double champ Amanda Nunes because she's got the fighting spirit, which means to never give up, even when the odds are against you. Great fighters, they're like great beers. It doesn't matter where you come from. It matters what you're made of. Modelo has been the gold standard since 1925. Modelo is a crisp, Pilsner-style lager that sets the standard for authentic Mexican beer. Modelo uses premium hops to give the golden lager its crisp taste. So, when you're watching the next big UFC fight, perhaps this weekend as Colby Covington takes on Tyron Woodley, make sure you have a crisp Modelo Especial within reach. Modelo Especial. Brewed for those with a fighting spirit. They're imported, Chicago, Illinois. Please support them because they support us. How about that, huh? Isn't that incredible?
He lost some weight, man. He's lost
110
weight.
pounds. 110 pounds. Amazing.
Can't eat all that stuff that he was eating on. That's delicious. You know, I just saw that. They said it's been out forever. I watched it all through training camp. It's a fantastic show.
Yeah, that was like your show,
But
right?
you don't want to be that guy, though, right? Like, you don't want to be that guy, right? So, like, okay, I like some of your photos, right?
My
you
photos.
Yes, you like some of my photos on Instagram.
The ratio of liking is like 1 out of 10 for me. But anyway, go ahead.
But you only like 5 out of 10 for me, right?
No, I like every single one.
No, you don't.
Every single
You don't want to be the guy that likes every post. And every time I look at Action Bronson's post, it's like there's this try-hard friend Ariel right up front,
wow.
liked by Ariel Helwani. You're like the try-hard friend that likes every single post. You can't like everyone.
Wait a second.
Because you gotta let him know that you're still valuable to him too, not just he's valuable to you. You're like
feels like something. This feels like something you've been holding on to for a while.
I mean, I just looked at his Instagram right now, and I scrolled down 7 pictures, and both are liked by all liked by Ariel Helwani first. Like, what is going on here?
First of all, it's not first. They put the people that you follow at the top. Number one. I was the first one.
Oh, that's how it works.
Yes.
I'm like Ariel's the first guy that likes Action Bronson.
What do you think? I have him on notifications. I'm trying to support the guy. He's on a journey of losing weight, a weight loss journey, if you will, and I'm trying to show him some love. And by the way, he has shown me love and this show some love. So,
did you watch the other fights this weekend?
No, I didn't watch anything. What
you don't watch it?
Of course I did. But we're not going to talk about that now. We're going to talk about something else. Look at you trying to steer this ship all of a sudden.
Well, I'm just asking. Like, I mean, you said there was a whole bunch of fights, and I was wondering if you watched the other fights.
I did. Did you?
I did. Congratulations to Juan Archuleta, wrestling coach, good guy, big time champion now. We had a rough weekend. John Fitch and Ed Ruth, the AKA guys, didn't do all that well. But I've watched a little bit. Kat Zingano fought her first fight over there and won. So
wow, look at you just running things down.
I watch everything, dog. You think I don't watch stuff? I mean, what do you think? You think I'm just backpacking it up in here, just jumping on your back, letting you carry me? Is that what you think this is?
I thought maybe you had a major life changing moment, and
but
you know what, man?
As much, but hey, Luna needs me to keep my job.
That's
right.
I
just work. Maybe I work. You know what I do.
All right, we'll talk about those guys actually later in the show. Fitch, I wanted to ask you about him. Also, Archuleta, the new Bellator bantamweight champion, won their vacant title. So we got a lot more to talk about as far as those fights this weekend go. But there's a big news story that's actually developing right now, DC, that I want to get to. I want to talk about no Nick Diaz this week.
We're done with that?
For now, we're done with that. The saga that is Dustin Poirier versus Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
So mid last week, I get a text from Dustin Poirier telling me that he's out. He's not fighting on October 24th against Tony Ferguson. And this was a fight, let's be honest, when it was officially like out there.
People got excited.
Like no one doesn't like this fight, right? Everyone wants this fight. You don't like it?
I don't want it.
Why?
I don't want it. Remember what I told you. I told you for the fights that Dustin's been in, right? Dan Hooker,
Yeah.
Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway, Khabib. I wanted him to take a little bit of a step back in terms of who he fights next. Not another guy. Not another guy that is going to be a blood and guts war, right? There's guys in there that he can go out there and fight. And I'm not even talking about guys out of the top 10. They're all going to be tough. But there are other fights out there for Dustin. Now you're going to fight the number one contender again. It's a.
Wait, so you're happy about? Okay, let me just finish what's going on.
I'm not. So wait, I'm not. So wait. That whole spiel you were about to do, it's irrelevant, right? Because now we're in the conversation. You and I, we're in the conversation.
So you're happy about the fact that Dustin is out and the UFC says that they're moving on. You're happy about this fight not materializing. That's what you just said.
No, I never said I'm happy. I am saying that initially, when everybody was pumped and jazzed about the fight, I'm thinking, gosh, I wish he would have gotten something that maybe a wrestler, somebody's going to try to hold him down and he could submit him, maybe something different to where he's not getting punched in the face and elbowed the whole time. And even if he wins the fight, right, which he can, but Tony's going to cut him up and Tony's going to do all these things that makes the fight very difficult.
Maybe not. Tony coming off a loss. Maybe he's lost a step, getting a little older.
I understand, bro. I understand. But for me as a friend of Dustin, I'm like, but then fight starts to come to pass. And now it sounds like the fight's off. El Diamante is taking the stand. El Diamante is taking the stand.
I like it.
If you want El Diamante to take this fight, you got to pay him. You got to pay him.
You got to pay the cost to be the boss, right?
Pay the cost to be the boss.
Listen, Dustin Poirier, there's a fascinating thing happening here, DC. What was that? What happened?
A little bit of a cough here.
Okay.
I haven't had enough water this morning.
You okay, though? Everything okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, I know you were hospital. Listen, this is a fascinating thing that's going on here because he's coming out and saying, they're not paying me enough, right? That's what he's coming out. And by the way, looked into it, disclosed purse for his last fight against Dan Hooker, disclosed purse. Now, we know about that, but disclosed purse for Dustin Poirier, just for the facts. I'm trying to get the facts here. 150 to show, 150 to win. That's 300 that he obviously got because he won the fight. 150 to show for Dustin Poirier. I think a lot of people would agree that, he's earned more than that. But here's the fascinating thing about all this, DC. The fascinating thing is usually when athletes, even in our sport, Masvidal, John Jones, talk about money, talk about wanting more, usually what happens is the fans don't back the fighter. Mm-hmm. Come on, man. Don't back up. You're scared, this and that. With Dustin, when I reported this on multiple days, it was overwhelming in terms of support for him. Pay the man, support you, Dustin. Do what you got to do. We got your back. This is the fight. And then what happens late Sunday? Tony Ferguson comes out.
Yeah.
Says, I support you. That's a big deal. I think it speaks to the respect that Dustin has developed and earned from the community. The MMA fans respect this man and feel like he has earned it. We don't know the numbers. He doesn't want to talk about the numbers. UFC isn't talking about the numbers. But just the fact that they are backing him blindly like this, I think is a pretty cool thing to see.
Well, you've watched him from the very beginning, right? Remember Dustin Poirier in WEC? Remember Dustin Poirier in his first UFC fight when he was a massive underdog against a guy. I can't remember the guy's name. It was a hot prospect. Dustin's first UFC fight.
Josh Grisby,
right? Remember Josh Grisby was supposed to be the man. Dustin beat him up. And then you see his ups. You see his downs. You saw him become a champion. You saw him lose to Khabib. You see him come back and beat Dan Hooker in the way that he did. You know what you get when you get a Dustin Poirier fight. Right, you know it's going to deliver. So I think it's a matter of what he wants. This is a guy that's a former champion, and for a long time, Ariel, making $300,000 was usually what challengers got paid for titles. So he's making fair money, I believe, decent money. But I think if I had to guess, it would be more about not win, show. It'd be more about what am I making. Right? I'm certain if they give Dustin $400,000, $500,000 flat, he'll be fine with that. Right? I just think that a lot of guys now or a little bit, they might be a little bit like done with the win and show. And I think that might be what you get with Dustin.
I agree with that. The top guys should not have a win and show. Like a guy like Dustin, when has he not shown up? Right? Or a guy like Tony.
He's always in a fight.
Those guys need to they need to know what they're going to get the moment they step in the cage, right?
Oh, it's the best. It's a great feeling, right? To know exactly when you get a contract for a certain amount of fights, you know exactly how much money you're going to make. That's a great. It's a great feeling. But But then you look at the pay structure, right, in MMA, and this is not just the UFC. This is everywhere, right? This is it still called the World Series of Fighting, or is it called something else?
It hasn't been called that.
What's it
I
called?
think in like 3-4 years. PFL.
PFL, right? Look at PFL. It's win show. Look at Bellator. A lot of win show. Like
Actually,
we got
Bellator
guys.
top guys, not as much.
No,
Bellator
we
top
got guys.
not.
We got guys that fighting Bellator and they make win and show, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's just the pay structure of mixed martial arts. Because what if a guy like, when a guy doesn't make weight, you start taking money out of that show money. It's not overall money. It's like, right? Is it overall money or is it just show money?
No, show.
It's the show money, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I get why they pay in that way, but I also see why fighters are just like, man, I just want to see and know what
Here
I'm
he comes.
doing.
Here he comes. Corporate DC back
No,
at
I'm
it.
just saying. No, I'm
back at it again like it's the first time.
Anytime it's hard, Ariel. Anytime change is hard because it's not going to be change all around, right? Bellator is not paying everybody just to show base. It's like it's the same thing,
No, well, okay. Look, if you're a younger guy starting out, like 10-10 is fair, right? You're starting out. Okay, you got, but the show win model, as you probably know, was instituted when they were trying to build the UFC when Zuffa bought it in early 2000s to try to entice fighters to put on shows, right? Like to go for it, to go for finishes. That's why the bonus structure was put in place. Sub of the night, KO of the night, all that stuff. But there are certain guys who have reached a level. And by the way, with Dustin, he hasn't told me that the problem is show win, just for the record.
No, I know. Me neither. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, a lot of times, though, the issues are rooted in that. Like, guys want to just know what they're making. And it's justified, especially when you're a guy that always brings it.
So here's the interesting thing that happens. The interesting thing that happens usually in these cases are, all right, you're out, on to the next, right? Now what's happening is fans are saying, I support you. Tony is saying, I support you, but you still do hear people say like, oh, who's out there? Charles Oliveira, who's out there? Dan Hooker, this and that.
Paul Felder. Here's the issue, right? And here's the issue. When Dana says, I'm not going to try to salvage it, and then you see Paul post a picture of him versus Tony, or you see Edson, and then there's options, right? Most of the times, moves are made when you don't feel like there's an option, right? When Masvidal said, I'm out, and Gilbert Burns was sick, you really have no option but to go and pay that man what he probably deserved, right? That's what he deserved in the first place. Paid him. It ended up paying dividends because the pay-per-view sold.
Not according to you.
I mean, listen, he got paid, right? And there's no issue with him getting paid. And obviously he deserved it, right? Because look at what the pay-per-view did. It showed his value. So it worked out. And I'm certain that if you just paid Dustin Poirier, it'd be the same thing.
Okay, but here's what's fascinating about it, DC. Tony is not just saying it publicly, he's saying it privately. My understanding is he's like, don't bring me anyone. I want Dustin Poirier.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you can keep your salvaging something, whatever, not salvaging. You can keep your Charles Oliveira. You can keep. Now what do they do?
Well, it's so crazy because you kind of put me in a rough situation, right? Because what do you do? Like, look, man, so Tony Ferguson, right? 12.
Can I tell you what they do? They figure it out.
They're going to get rid of both of them. They'll get rid of both of them.
Oh, sure. They're not fighting on this card. There's no way.
It's like they'll just get rid of both of them because that's what they'll do, right? It's like Tony Ferguson that had won 12 fights in a row. You could say, don't bring me another fight. But when you're coming off of a loss in the fashion that he lost, it's like, okay, you don't want to fight? Fine. We'll just get somebody else to fight. That's the problem.
Well, this particular card, I don't even think needs those guys, to be honest, because it's, the Khabib Gaethje card, and there's Robert Whittaker on the card against Jared Cannonier.
I would love for it should. Look, man, put it on that card.
What's also interesting about this, which I reported but didn't really get picked up last week, the stipulation that they were attaching to this fight, which I never heard before, was let's say Khabib Gaethje and then the co-main was Tony Dustin. If Khabib got hurt, Justin would get bumped up to the main event to fight Dustin Poirier. Dustin would jump up to the main event to fight Justin Gaethje because, of course, he has a win over him. But if Gaethje got hurt,
Tony Ferguson would go up.
And we would get Khabib versus Tony. So it was like
salvage the fight. You have to salvage this fight.
Could you imagine if something happened? Could you imagine? I don't want to see this happen, but could you imagine a world where something happens with Gaethje in this world that we're living in?
No.
Got in Tony versus Khabib.
No. That would be okay. Finally, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
They get the fight. But how about this though, right? Like, how about this though? What if something happened to Habib and then Dustin gets bumped up and fights Gaethje, who he has a win over, and then he wins? Is he the interim champion again? Like, how does I mean, there's so many factors. Like, is he the interim champ again? Like, how does that work? It's crazy.
I would love to see this fight as a 5-round fight, if I'm being honest, because these two guys are so great.
You just hate Dustin.
What do you mean? I love Dustin. Are you kidding me?
I want to put him in 5-round main events and just like
Wait a second. Can I tell you right now? Dustin Poirier, in my mind, I haven't looked at the lines, is the favorite going into this fight.
I do believe that too. And
I feel like you don't believe in Dustin Poirier. How about that?
I'm not saying he's going to lose. I'm saying that in this fight, because of the way he fights, he just batters and bruises the guys, and he takes a lot of damage himself. That's all I'm saying. I do believe he wins this fight against Tony Ferguson. After watching what Justin Gaethje did to him, I think Dustin beats him. But I just think that he's going to take a lot of damage on the way. And as his friend, I just want him to not take so much damage. Maybe go wrestle more and submit somebody like he used to.
As his friend, I want him to get paid.
I want him to get paid.
GDP.
I do want to pay the man. Give him that money, man.
GDP.
Give him that money. GDP,
you know
man.
Get
that paper. Get that paper, Dustin.
Yes.
Get that paper, Dustin. I mean, man. Pay the dude.
Yeah, it would be nice. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But right now, the fight isn't happening. And it's going to be really interesting to see, once they officially offer someone else to Tony Ferguson, what happens then? If he sticks to his guns and says, I'm not fighting anyone else, now you're putting the UFC in a spot where they have to come back to the table and figure it out and make the best deal for everyone. So
make the fight for Habib versus Gaethje, though. It needs to be on this card. There's just too many factors at play to not have it on the same night.
Speaking of a fight that we've been talking about for quite some time, that we were teased about and we thought was going to happen, it didn't happen, and there were starts and stops and what. After 2.5 years, DC, this Saturday, we are getting Tyron Woodley versus Colby Covington. And isn't it amazing? 2 years ago, they were supposed to fight for the belt. Obviously, Tyron was the favorite going into that fight. This time around, he's a dog going into it. The times have changed, right? Especially after what happened in his last 2 fights. How do we feel about Tyron Woodley versus Colby Covington finally fighting after all this time? It's actually kind of crazy that they're fighting on a great card, by the way. Best non-pay-per-view main card of the year. You didn't like my post. I saw you looked at it, but you didn't like it when I posted it on Instagram.
How do you know I looked at it?
I have a thing I put in a tracker and I could see who looks at my post, but
really?
No, absolutely not. But you see, I was right. You did look at it. You did like it. You son of a.
No, it's a great card. And a great fight. I'm excited about this one, man, because I feel like Tyron Woodley has taken a real strong stance in terms of social justice and everything, right? The whole racial equality and everything that's happening in the world. And he has kind of made Colby the opposite, right? So he's kind of in his mind made Colby the bad guy, as a lot of people do. Make Colby the bad guy. So maybe that is what he's using to motivate himself to finally go beat that guy that he's had that thing with for so long. But Colby Covington's good, man, as good as anybody in the world. And I told this to someone last night on a text message. One of my friends goes, it sucks so bad because Tyron's probably going to lose to this dude. I was like, honestly, not many people in the world can beat Colby Covington, man. And I'm not saying Tyron's going to lose. I'm just saying that Colby Covington is a tough out for anybody in the welterweight division. But I do believe Tyron can win, and I do feel like the motivation he's carried in camp will allow for him to have one of those vintage performances.
Okay, so you have actually set me up perfectly for the question that I wanted to ask you, because a couple of weeks ago I spoke to Tyron, right? And obviously there's so much going on in this world, and obviously you can't ignore, what they represent and stand for, right? I mean, they're very open about what they represent and stand
opposite.
For. Yes. I mean, there's just so many stories. I mean, this fight is like straight out of Vince McMahon's playbook in 1991, right? So, but I asked Tyron, do you feel like you are fighting for your community? Do you feel like you are fighting for your brothers and sisters? Is that what you see when you look at Colby Covington? I actually thought that he gave me a really smart and a mature response. Maybe the Tyron Woodley of 2 years ago doesn't respond to this question this way. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm fighting Colby Covington. And I see people on my comment section all the time telling me, do it for the culture, do it for the people, do it for us, do it for Black Lives Matter. And he's like, no, if you don't want me to win just because you want me to beat Colby Covington, then I don't want your support, right? He was saying, like, I'm going in there to try to win and beat this guy and move on. I'm not doing it for anything else. I'm not putting that kind of pressure on my shoulders. So A, I want to ask you, what do you think of that response from Tyron? And B, do you get the sense, you just mentioned someone texting you, do you feel like, people are rooting for Tyron because of who Colby represents, and they're putting that pressure on him? Like, have you noticed that as well from your friends?
Well, look at me, right? I just assumed that he would be carrying it in training camp, right? Because that's what it looks like, right? When you look at their interactions, the way that they are. I mean, Colby was on a video with the president yesterday, right? Tyron has been completely opposite of what the president represents, as a lot of people are, and there are a lot of people that support the president, as Colby does. So they're just polar opposites. And you would think that that would mean that those two sides would meet in the middle, inside the octagon. But I love Tyron's response. I mean, it's different, right? It's different. But I do feel like he's going to carry some of that into the octagon with him. I saw something on this thing the other day, said the UFC is so cool for letting him put Black Lives Matter on his fight kit. That's crazy. Right? That in itself is taking that into the octagon with you. Whether or not you say it, that's taking that with you, because Colby's going to address that, right? Like, Colby's not a guy that's not going to say anything about it. So I do believe that even though they're not saying it, that is a part of the competition for sure. It absolutely is.
Would you agree that he shouldn't fight for other people in there? He shouldn't fight angry. He shouldn't make this too. It's obviously impossible to not make this a personal fight. These two hate each other and they have a deep backstory, right? They used to be training partners, all this stuff. But that's putting a lot of pressure on your shoulders. Like, when I heard him say that, I was like, oh, this is actually a smart move. Now, whether or not he's truly doing it, like, he could be saying it and maybe not truly feeling that way, we don't know. But it's got to affect you if you look at your Instagram and all your comments are like, do it for us, break that guy's jaw, all that stuff. That's a lot. If you're able to block that out, I would argue that that's probably better than trying to do it for everyone, right?
At this point, Tyron needs to just fight for him and his family, because all the other stuff, it just hasn't benefited him, right? Like, and I can't judge his actions outside of the octagon, right? But he was the champion for a while. He was, he started a rap career. He did a lot of stuff. He's spoken about this, right? A lot of the distractions that came with becoming the champion. And then since he lost his belt and now got beat by Gilbert Burns, I think it's time for Tyron to just fight for himself, man. Get back to what made him that guy that terrified the entire welterweight division. So if he can block out everything that's going on in the world and go and fight just for Tyron, hats off to him, man. And I hope that's really what he's doing. I hope he was being truthful with you. And not kind of just putting you off, getting you off the scent, because you love something like this. Like, this is what these fights, for as much as I love them, I love it but we love them for different reasons, right? We love them for different reasons.
What do you mean?
Like, I love the fight because I believe that these are two of the best welterweights in the world competing.
Oh, you like the storylines too.
Listen. I love the fight for this. The storyline is an added element to it. For you, it's a storyline. This was proven last week when you tried to give Leon Edwards out of the fight with Nick Diaz because there was no
Leon's dead to me. I mean,
don't even storyline. Yeah, because for you, the storyline is A, and then the other thing is B. For me, it's like, I want to see the fight because I think these guys are both ultra talented and ultra competitive. And then the storyline, it adds to it. I love it. I mean, I called the Usman Covington fight, right? So I spoke about how great they were, but the fact that the thing that makes this fun is how much they hate each other, right? So it kind of be a balance. You don't play a balance.
No, that is such that is such a lie. First of all, saying that you don't feel the same way about the fight is a lie. Number one, I love the fight from a stylistic standpoint, but you talk about a build 2.5 years strong. Tyron Woodley, when he beat Rafael dos Anjos in Chicago and walked up with Tyron's tears on his water bottle. I mean, we're talking about a build. You last week were talking about the slow build with Brock Lesnar. This is like ultra slow.
This is like, this is a gumbo slow build.
Like you remember back in the day in wrestling when they would get them in the same ring, but they wouldn't touch because you didn't want
contract signing.
Yes.
It was like backstage run in. It was so many reasons, but never an actual fight.
This is that fight. And dare I say, DC, they're all must win, right? You're 1-0. It's a must win fight, right? They're all must. But dare I say, for Tyron Woodley, there has never been a more must-win fight than this one, right?
This is it. If he doesn't win this one, he's relegated to fighting those guys that just he becomes a name to try to propel people, and you don't ever want to be
Colby
that.
will never let him live it down.
I mean, I honestly believe that if Colby wins this fight, he kind of goes on to the next thing, starts to call Usman out again. It's what he's done. When did you hear Colby, for as much as he ragged on Robbie Lawler, or for as much as he hardly ever mentions those guys anymore. He goes on
This
to
one's different, though. This one's different.
No, I get it, but when he ragged on those guys, he ragged on RDA before they fought. He rags on everybody he fights, but then once he beats them, he kind of just goes on to the next thing. And I do believe that for as personal as this one may seem, if Covington wins this fight, he'll go on to the next thing and try to get back in there with Usman.
All right. Well, I can't wait. It's going down this Saturday. And like I said, and like you saw on my Instagram yesterday, but didn't like it, great main card, best non-pay-per-view main card of 2020, in my opinion. You've got Donald Cerrone coming back in, potentially another must-win for him.
Who just had a baby himself last week, right?
Yes, Mazel Tov. That's right.
Crazy.
Everyone's having babies later in life. Nico Price, that's a fun fight. Randa Marcos against Mackenzie Dern. You got the return of Johnny Walker. You got Kevin Holland. But what about this one? You talk about storylines, DC. I am all in on this storyline. And in particular, the storyline for the B side. DC, they are doing my guy Gerald Burchard dirty. They are putting him in there.
Oh, boy. Oh, my goodness.
Against Khamzat Chimaev. What? Come on now. They booked his next fight. Damn.
Yo,
what about that?
How do you schedule you against a dude first
in
2 fights? Like, that's bad. Like,
is it a mistake? Is it a mistake?
The kid looks like he's the real deal. The kid looks real. I mean, the kid looks real, but I don't think that kid. Look, no knock on the guys that he fought over in Abu Dhabi, but they're no Gerald Mearshart and Damian Maia. I mean, so look, you're going all in with the kid, right? His manager, Ali, and the UFC, they're going all in with the kid, right? This kid gets through this stretch, 2 fights. He's as real as they come. Right, he'll be staring across the octagon from a guy. Hey, T Wood's not careful, and T Wood doesn't win next weekend. He might be the guy that has to propel this. Is it Chimaev?
Yeah,
he's the guy that has to propel this Chimaev. You don't want to be that, but boy, to put him 2 more fights against that competition level, it's risky. Damian Maia has made a career of spoiling these exact types of situations, and Gerald Mearshart is tough, man. But what if this kid runs through Gerald? Oh boy. If this kid runs through Gerald, man.
How would you feel if you're Gerald right now?
So Gerald's in a bit of a situation, right? Because it's a bit of a conundrum for Gerald, right? So if Gerald gets mad, which any human being would feel like you want to be mad and offended, that may force you to make mistakes in there. If you just act as if it doesn't matter, your ego won't allow you to get past it. So Gerald's in a bit of a spot, man. I think I'd be upset, but try to keep things in perspective. This is a young guy the UFC's trying to get behind. This is my opportunity to take the thunder. But, I mean, nobody did that. Scheduling 2 fights at a time. Have you ever seen that before?
I tried to think of it. I think it might have happened one time with Donald Cerrone where he took a short notice fight when he had another fight booked. I think there was some talk of Chael doing it one time, but never where they came out and said it. And it was so interesting because they came out, like Dana said, the Maia fight, didn't even mention Gerald's name. So he's a complete afterthought in all of this. And I think Gerald's playing it up perfectly. He's saying, I'm going to shock the world. I'm going to stop the hype train. He's not even going to be healthy enough to make it to the Maia fight. So I don't even want to worry about the Maia fight just yet, because let's be honest, DC, they usually with big, with prospects, people like you, Connor. Remember when Connor fought Dennis Seaver, they knew that if he won that fight, who would be next for him? It would be Aldo, right? Mm-hmm. Eventually, it wasn't Aldo because he got hurt, but they don't usually come out and say it, right? That's the difference here. They don't usually actually tell.
And also, they don't schedule them for a month later, right? Like, it's not even that they just don't say it. Like, this kid's scheduled to fight in Abu Dhabi.
No, now it's November.
Oh, so they moved it back a month. Okay.
Have they lost faith in him? Have they lost faith? Maybe.
No, it's not that they've lost faith, but maybe what Gerald said resonated. Like, I'm hurting this dude. Because I'm trying to, if it's me, I'm trying to hurt the dude. Win or lose, I'm trying to hurt this dude to where he don't get to fight the next time. Like, I'm trying to cut him up. Obviously you're doing that anyway in the fight, but I'm hoping to inflict so much damage that he can't get to that second booking. It's crazy, man. It's a crazy, crazy thing.
Old Gerald is good off his back. A lot of submissions. He knows what to do there. Khamzat fighting in the smaller cage. Are you yawning? What's going on?
Bro, I got a new baby. I've been up since 3:30 in the
Sorry,
morning.
I didn't know I was boring you. I'm sorry.
No, you're not boring me. This is as fascinating a conversation as we had.
You like when I say that word, right?
I love when you say that.
Yes.
You know what's fascinating?
Are you doing that one?
What?
Are you calling the card this weekend?
No, I'm not working this weekend. I'm not working until Abu Dhabi because I got a new baby. Man, I was.
What do you mean Abu Dhabi's next week?
No, Abu Dhabi's in next month. I go whenever Zombie fights Ortega and
October
then
17th.
Habib fights Gaethje. I'm working those two. And then
you're going to Fight Island?
I'm going to Fight Island, baby.
Wow.
I got to see it. And I was like, wow, it's exactly what Dana said from the start. And it's real. Octagon on the beach. I have to experience Yas Island.
I'd like to come too.
You want to go?
I mean, I didn't get
the
invite.
invite. Didn't even come to my fight. So it's like,
yeah, I didn't come to your fight.
I don't want you to go anywhere.
We didn't talk about that. That was a bit of a sore subject. I didn't come to your fight. But can I be honest? I like when you get paid, but I secretly am kind of happy when you don't do the fights.
Why?
A little jealousy. You're like,
Wait,
chummy with like
oversaturation.
Well, it's just like a lot of DC. You know what I mean? I like when you're fresh on Monday.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. I think you mean like, don't work on the weekend so we can I'm all excited about that.
That's right. I want to hear your thoughts first on this show, your show. You know what I mean? There you're just a cog in the wheel. Here you're one half of the fastest growing show.
Yeah, for sure. I take a lot of pride in that too.
Plus, I get jealous. I see you chummy with other people on air. It's, I get jealous sitting at home. I'm sitting in my spare bedroom here in my shorts. Like, what am I doing?
By yourself all the time?
Yeah, all the time.
Fights at all?
By myself.
Does your wife watch fights at all?
Oh, she'll pop in and be like, "Who's fighting tonight?" I'm like, Karate Hottie. Oh, I like her, and then she'll leave.
She doesn't watch ever.
No, doesn't watch.
Like, when
you fought, she was like asleep at like 9:30.
So the thing that butters the bread, she does not have respect for.
No. Hey, what do you get no respect for? What do you get no respect?
This man here, man. Every time I learn things about you that just I don't get it, man. Have her sit down and watch one fight and go, babe, this is what I do. Like, take an interest in me, Ariel, the person. Like, hey, baby, take an interest in me, Ariel.
We're not that type. We don't do the baby thing.
Don't just look at my dashing good looks and the size of my paycheck. Take an interest in me. See what I do to make you so happy and provide this beautiful life. Like, I mean, come on.
I will tell her. that. Maybe she'll watch this weekend.
Say, hey, baby, those piano lessons, baby, those piano lessons. Come on, me covering this fight helps to provide that.
That's right. Say
it. Baby.
She's not gonna be happy. I've never called her baby. I've known her since I was 12.
Say babe.
Babe. Hey, babe. hey, sweetie. We've never done any of that. Only thing she'll call me is like a curse word thing.
Heard her call you one last week, and I was shocked.
Okay. Speaking of shocked, as we round third here, DC.
Oh, we're rounding third?
That's it. I mean, it's a tight ship around these parts. I don't know if you know about TST and what he likes to do. What about John Fitch retiring after all these years? A nice little moment there. He loses to Naaman Gracie. And by the way, Gracie, I don't know if you know this, if you were watching. I know you were watching everything on Saturday, but told Big John to interview Fitch first, which I thought was a really class move on his part. And then Fitch saying you want to help him train for his next fights and all that. But John Fitch, one of the pillars of AK. What were your thoughts when you saw that?
Oh man, just I heard John go, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm an old man. Like my time's coming." John Fitch is one of those guys that he puts a lot of thought into everything he does. And he said, I've always said I would fight until I lose, and when I lose, I'd be done. And he's gonna stick to that. But I mean, I just remember going into AKA when John Fitch was the man, and he taught me how to train. He's a guy that just trained hard and worked. And you could see that John Fitch was a guy that may not have had all the physical gifts that some people have, the athleticism, but through hard work, commitment, and dedication, he became a guy that still is up there in terms of winning the UFC's welterweight division, became a World Series of Fighting champion, and fought in the Bellator champ to a very questionable decision for the title in their tournament. So we're very proud of John. John is he's a real leader. He was the AKA captain before me, and it's gonna be sad to see him go, but I'm happy for what comes next for John Fitch.
Yeah, I called him on my Instagram one of the best welterweights of all time, and a lot of people gave me grief for that. And all I could say to those people, casuals, they don't remember John
They don't
Fitch
know
against
who John Fitch
GSP.
was.
Yeah, I mean, this guy was a force. This guy was one of the top welterweights, and I'll never forget very quickly. The first job I ever had in MMA was working for a site called MMArated.com, and I flew. You remember that one?
Man, boy, you really have glowed. It's a glow. Like you
Yeah.
have glowed up, boy, because you worked at MMA Rated.
Yeah, man. The hardcores will know all about MMA Rated. And guess what? Back then, the UFC wouldn't credential me. And so I would go to the Strikeforce events and the Elite XC events and the Affliction events, right? Without those guys, without the Cokers of the world and those guys who let me in, who knows where I'd be. And I flew to San Jose to cover a Strikeforce event headlined by Bobby Southworth.
Oh, yeah, Bobby.
And Babalu Sobral in the main event for the light heavyweight title. And I got to San Jose on a Thursday night, and I found out that the entire AKA squad got cut by the UFC because of the video game.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was because of John Fitch. John Fitch was leading the way. Kane got cut. All of them got cut. And the next day, DC, I don't know if we ever talked about this, but the next day. I was
there.
You were there?
I think that was like 2009, right?
Yeah.
It was the video game thing. Yeah, I was at AKA when that happened.
Wow. I don't remember you being there because you were like you were nobody.
I was a nobody. I was working at MMA.
Yeah. You were less than that. You were less than that. And DC, I went to AKA that day and I stayed the entire day. And Fitch would give me updates all day. And by the end, he came out and he told me that he talked to Lorenzo and they figured it out. And he was really cool. And he's always been very cool. But I'll never forget that. By the way, Javier Mendez that day let me record a team meeting where he said, we're all sticking together.
Yeah.
We're not. Were you at that meeting?
I was there.
Oh my God. I got to find this.
I was sitting in the corner, not doing anything. Like I had no idea what was happening, but just knew that I probably should not say anything.
Oh my God. That is wild. Yes, I was there that whole day. That's amazing. Anyway,
great
shout out to John Fitch.
Appreciate John and everything he's done. And hey, at one point in the UFC, John had won 8 in a row to get the title shot. Then he won like 6 or 7 in a row after he lost. So it takes a lot to win that many fights in a row in the UFC. And he did it with just grit and determination. So great career for John Fitch.
Who else do you want to shout out? Mike D'Antoni? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, come on, man.
Go ahead. I just kidding.
You can do that?
Go ahead.
Shout out time. My first shout out, the most important shout out goes to my beautiful wife, Selena. I mean, come on, man. Is anyone more deserving of a shout out after going through what she went through last week to deliver my baby Luna, to be so strong in the face of adversity, right? She didn't know what was going to happen. She had to be so scared whenever we found out that the baby had to come early, but she was just a pillar of strength when she went around our kids. Our kids were in the car when we went to the hospital.
Wow.
We went to the doctor. They were in the car. I had to go drive them home after she checked herself into the hospital to go into the labor and delivery. When you talk about a tough gal, you talk about Selena Cormier, and I want to give her my first shout out. And you know what else, Ariel, which is so crazy? The day that my daughter was born, later in the afternoon, Selena lost an uncle, right? So she went through that before giving birth. So when you want to talk about toughness, you're talking about my wife. I always knew she was tough to deal with me, but after all that, I truly see her in a different light.
You were sweating, right? You were nervous? It's too early. You didn't have your bag packed?
I mean, we had no bag pack. I had to run home to get the stuff. I mean, it was a mad dash, man. So I want to give Selena a shout out.
Yes, I want to give her a shout out as well. Well done for not only, dealing with you, but for what she had to handle last week. Anyone else come to mind?
Yeah. So John Fitch, obviously, Bobby Green, obviously. And my last one, I want to give a shout out to my man, Drew Brees, last night.
Oh, come on. Get out of here.
Another record, Ariel. Seriously, another record. So now Drew Brees owns the record for most passing touchdowns, most yards, completion percentage, and passes attempted in NFL history as we went to 1-0 yesterday for those New Orleans Saints. Who that said he going to beat them Saints? And then Saturday night, we got Kamara re-signed. Sunday morning, we got Demario Davis re-signed. This thing is going to run for a long time, but hats off to Drew Brees at 41 years old, still rocking and rolling. Another record in the book. Dare I say, the best quarterback in the NFL today.
Wow. So you're just going to completely walk on the grave of the Houston Rockets. They're done to you. They're dead. That's it. Nothing. No mention. No nothing.
We're going fishing, baby. We're going fishing with you guys. We're going fishing with you guys. Pascal Siakam is fishing with Russ.
Oh, stop it. Stop. That is a little much. Yes, the Raptors are no more. And Pascal did not have a very good game 7 or series, to put it mildly. But DC, I want to give a shout out to MMA Deegan, at all Deegan on Twitter. Why? Because on Friday, I said, happy Game 7 Raptors Celtics Day. And I said, let's hear some predictions. And if you nail it exactly to the score, I will give you a shout out on the show. And this young man, all Deegan, got it right. Celtics 92, Raptors 87.
No, he didn't.
He did.
On the number?
On the number. So I got to give him a shout out. Shout out to Kevin Kroom, who won on Saturday, DC. He beat Roosevelt Roberts, took this fight on just hours' notice and won his fight. And afterwards, he tweeted this, DC. On Wednesday, I had $64 in my bank account and was trying to figure out how to make it 65. Hell of a weekend. Not only did he win his debut, he got a $50K bonus as well.
Those are the types of stories that you love to see. And look, those are the types of stories that happen where? Where do those stories happen most?
Only in America.
Only in America, but only where? Say it.
Only in the world of sports.
Only where, Ariel? Say
what
it.
What are you talking about? I really don't know.
Only in the UFC, right? A guy can get a
Bellator short notice fight.
They don't give $50,000 bonus, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only place that happens, right? For Kevin Kroom to go out there with $60, go out there and knock out Roosevelt Roberts, and then get, now he's got $70,065, right? He went from $65 to $70,065.
Have you ever had $65 in your bank account? Like, that's it?
I've had negative money in my bank account before when I was a wrestler back in the day.
Wow.
Paying bills, me and my ex-wife, and it was hard at times.
Shout out to Kevin Kroom. Shout out to Juan Archuleta, who won the Bellator title on Saturday. Great fight against Patchy Mix. Shout out, by the way, we didn't mention this last week, but I want to give a shout out to Ricardo Lamas, who retired early last week. Great career for him. Long-time featherweight, presence. 145 in WC and UFC. By the way, shout out to the great country of France, DC, that has finally jumped on the MMA bandwagon.
Bellator's going, right?
Bellator's going on October 10th, and it's going to be the first major MMA show in France. And they're also going to have up to 5,000 fans there, DC. So we're starting to get back to normal here.
I saw some fans in the Chiefs game, and after watching the rest of the games yesterday, it's so much better with a few in there. It just works better. Juan Archuleta, congratulations. I got some friends over at St. John Bosco Wrestling. They're so proud of him. He was coaching there for a while. Ricardo Lamas, the way that he showed out in his last fight, he got that ending, right? The same thing I was chasing. I lost, didn't get it. Ricardo Lamas got it, man. Congratulations on getting the victory in the last time out there and on a great career. He's been fun to watch.
And finally, shout out to the GOAT, Artem Lobov, who's coming back to MMA in December. Do you see
I saw a picture of him on the internet yesterday, and I couldn't understand what it was. I was like, what is it?
It was on my Instagram. You didn't read the caption.
Was it the UFC? Is he in the UFC still?
Something Arena Fight Championship in December, but he's back, and that's great news.
I still don't know what this thing is with Artem Lobov, man. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it.
He's tremendous.
He's a great guy, but I don't get it, man. He's like, isn't he like 12-12?
Wait, are you hating on Artem Lobov?
No, I like Artem. Like I see it all the time, right? Like somebody's like, I would say stuff like, "Man, greatest of all time." They're like, "The only greatest of all time is Artem Lobov." I have so many comments telling me he's the greatest of all time. He's like 12-12. How's that possible?
Because he always shows up, no matter what. He's right down the middle. Artem Lobov, the Russian Hammer. Okay, don't you dare speak his name in vain.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome back, Artem. All right, DC. Go change some diapers. Much love to you and the family. Let me know if you change your mind about the naming and all that stuff. We'll figure it out later. Don't worry about it. No pressure whatsoever.
I'm probably not going to do that.
All right. And thanks to Modelo. Thanks to everyone who helps us put on the show each and every week. And thanks to all of you. Back next week, same time and place. Tell you to say peace. We're out of here.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.